Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Assetto Corse in Competizione. Round 6 of the Taco Tuesday series takes us to the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia in Spain. Tom Kent's in the commentary position, providing you with the details for this evening's action. We've got 15 minutes of qualifying coming up after practice, and it's a 90-minute race that will include 2 mandatory pit stops. And could this be the race that effectively takes its toll on the championship race? So Dennis Vogel, the man you can see in your picture, aiming for another strong result to take him a step closer to the title in his first season in Tier 1. I think it's his rookie Taco Tuesday season, as far as I know. But there'll be other drivers out there to stop him, most certainly. Into the final moments of practice. Apologies for that. Jeffrey Godefroy showing some strong pace in the BMW 147. Hard done by the collision he had with Craig Law last week. Craig got a time penalty for the collision, which dropped him down the order as a consequence. As far as the championship is concerned, with 3 rounds to go. It's Valencia tonight, Solder next week, and Paul Ricard hosting the season finale on September the 5th. So Dennis Vogel has a 12-point lead over the Croatian Nico Busov, and it's Mauro Arsenio, who won last week's race in Donington, moving up into 3rd place ahead of Ben Milden, who's only a point behind, with Jeffrey Godefroy dropping down to 5th after ending the results in 9th position. He did finish 11th, I think, initially, or 10th, but Craig Law's penalty for the collision with Godefroy drops him down the order, Law finishing just behind him in 10th place. 40 points for a race win, 38 for 2nd, 36 for 3rd. 2-point difference between each position from 1st to 11th, and then from 11th downwards, it's a point difference, really. And there's also a couple of points up for grabs for the driver who sets the fastest lap, regardless of where they finish, or whether they do not finish. So regardless of where they end up in the race, essentially. So Ricardo Tormo, this circuit recently was released this year. First opened in 1999. The configuration that these drivers are using is the Grand Prix circuit configuration. 4 kilometres. Plays host to the Valencian Community MotoGP event. It's done so every year since the circuit opened. Hosted the European MotoGP in 2020. It's host of the Valencia E-Prix in 2021, where there was that farce at the end of the race where so many cars just ran out of energy and couldn't get to the finish line. And less than half of the field made it to the line and were classified. Driver that holds the race lap record, that would be Andreas Zuber, man from the United Arab Emirates, who I believe was the race winner of the GP2 Series sprint race in Turkey. That was the same race where Lewis Hamilton made an incredible comeback to finish 2nd, which helped him on course to claim the championship. But it was Andreas Zuber who won the sprint race that particular day. Have joined us live on Twitch. Do feel free to get involved in the live chat. seen Busov go to the top of the timing pages. And in fact, let's go for a lap with him on this circuit. So as he makes his way down towards turn number 1, down to third gear, you can see the apex sometimes drives you towards the right hand side and run wide into turn 2, which is a hairpin. Second gear and 90 kilometers an hour at the apex, using the outside curve before you go through the apex of 3. Now you brake for 4 down to second, 105 kilometers an hour before you apply the throttle once more. This is 5 that he goes through, and then it's another left-hander, a braking zone of 6, heading down to this straight that is not quite a straight, to be honest with you, through the kink, and this is turn number 8, and coming through turn number 9. He's exceeded track limits there, hence why his time has gone red. He'll carry on with his lap anyway. Down to first gear for the hairpin before the second sector closes. And he's got 2 more corners to get through as Busov, before he gets to the line, through the sweeping left-hander, and down into the final corner before the pit straight. And it's not going to be a lap because he exceeded track limits, but that gives you a guide of this circuit in Valencia. Thank you to Nico Busov for providing us with a lap of that. Busov top of the timing pages, got a Fright and Volkel within a 10th of him. And in 4th position, we've got the 403 McLaren. Which is Pasquale Amato. Pasquale Amato in the McLaren 720S GT3 Evo. His first race this season. He's looking to impress. And he's doing very well so far, up in 4th place. Another driver making his first start. I say his first start, he's actually done 2 races this season already, and that's Luca Andrielsi. De Stefano's in 6th place with Craig Law in 7th, Melvin Crow's Josh Clayton in 9th and 10th. Let's go to Volkel, who's actually in the pits, so we want to go to another driver out on circuit. There's not actually that many out there. This is Will Rayner in the number 5 BMW. So far this season, currently 19th in the championship standings. He's missed 2 races, best result of 8th in Austin. ...21 drivers in the lobby at the moment, with around about 5 minutes of practice to go, so a last opportunity for these drivers to get some mileage under their belts before qualifying begins, as De Stefano goes to the top with 131.3. Busov dropping down to 2nd place, but only by 100th of a second. No news yet in terms of what the plans for next season will be in regards to the calendar. There's even talks of potentially expanding the grids for next season and reducing the tier system. There are 3 tiers in Taco Tuesday. We could well get up to a 40-car grid for 2 tiers next season, which would be good for the races and good for the league as well. That's all to play for here, most certainly. Let us know who your money is on for pole and for the victory. It'll be a 90-minute event. As I've already mentioned, it's a 2-stop race compared to the mandatory one, or a 60-minute one. Here's Will Rayner coming round to complete another lap. He'll get 2 more goes at it, I would have thought. Finish line will be in sight for him. Rayner stays where he is in P14, and it looks like Caruana is up to 5th place. He was off the pace in Donington last week, just didn't really get going in all honesty. He's finding some quality pace here so far. Clayton's in 8th place, Crow's in 10th place now, I should say. Will Freeman, who had one of his best qualifyings, if not his best qualifying in Taco Tuesday since he moved to the PS5. He was previously on the PS4 not too long ago, but he made the switch to PS5, and he actually qualified in 5th place before it all fell apart for him on the first lap. Now Freeman in P11 to build on that qualifying performance of last week. Got 23 in the lobby now, which is good news. Hopefully we'll get a few more before the session of qualifying or the race begins. 25 are expected. Drivers do get given points penalties if they check in but don't attend. Freeman going up to 9th place now, and Petropostal 12th position. He didn't quite have the best race in all honesty 7 days ago. Morgan Grace is in the lobby now. That's 24 drivers. Adam Sharp in P17 as well. Now, is anyone making an effort as well? We can see Craig Law going up into 3rd place. He'll be hoping that he doesn't fall foul of the stewards this time. Last couple of rounds have been very frustrating for him. Just to put one right here. It's off the track, and that'll be his session done. And Di Stefano is still the fastest of all. As the darkness continues. Paul Stefano is looking to close in on the 60. Well, I say closing on the 68. Doesn't need to close in. Well, I suppose he's on the fast lap anyway. But the checker flag is out for the drivers to complete their final laps before qualifying begins. Di Stefano exceeded track limits there, unfortunately. Let's see what his time is on here. Well, it's not an improvement from before, so he stays fastest at the present moment. Got the number 13, Luca Andriossi. Pits. Now, got one more driver out there. I think that's... Is it Vanderwall that's out there? No, it's... Hanovic may be on a lap. We've got the number 8 of Will Freeman, who is on a lap. Or trying to, at least, anyway. But qualifying is done. Oh, sorry, practice is done, I should say. Qualifying is about to begin. Who is going to be on pole here in Valencia? Got 24 drivers in the lobby at the moment. And we've got Volkel and Hutchison wasting no time in getting out there. So, who is going to get the first pole in Tier 1 in Taco Tuesday on this track? Season 10 of Taco Tuesday. All of this had begun back in 2021. Likes of James Williams, Chris Gedman, many of the admins and moderators involved in putting this league together have done a superb job. As well as almost trying to make it somewhat of a business, making it all the more fun for the drivers who participate all around the world. These who competed in, we've obviously got those from Great Britain, we've got those from Croatia, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, even some from the USA, some from Brazil. Now Volkel is looking to go for yet another pole. He achieved that in Donington last week. 3 poles to his name out of 5. Can he make it 4 out of 6? Not stuck in traffic at the moment. He's got the 34 in front of him. That would be Farkle for Bizzle, who is on an outlap, so he won't want to get in the way of Volkel when he comes up to him. Bizzle stays out of the way. Volkel looking to go through the remaining half of the lap of Ricardo Tormo. GP2 series raced here, of course. Not that it was part of the Formula 1 support bill. Held races on its own weekends at times, although not most of the time. Most of the time it usually be part of the Formula 1 support bill. Volkel is coming through the pit straight now, and is this going to be a lap for him? It's a 1:31.3. Now the fastest time we saw in practice was a 1:31.3, which Di Stefano had got. Volkel was slightly slower on that by around about 600ths, but that's a good time at this stage of qualifying. So 1:31.1 now, which Amato has produced. Fastest time we've seen throughout tonight in Tier 1. Bousov going second with a 1:31.3. Craig Law fourth, Melvin Crows, Morgan Grace up there as well, Ben Milden needing to find some time. He's been pushed down by Jeffrey Godefroy. He's gone up into 6th position. Seeing more and more times coming onto the board. Farkle for Bizzle is coming towards the end of the lap he's on. Going through the sweeping left-hander before the last braking point of the lap. And the 999 of Volkel is heading over the line. Is this going to be an improvement from before? It is, you know, and he's the first driver to get into the 1:30. So it's a 1:30.8 for Volkel. He goes back to the top. Pavisel crossed over the line. Where did he end up? I don't think he actually got a timer or a valid one, as far as I know. So he needs to go again, unfortunately. Got the 713 crossing over the line. That is Caruana, who goes up to 15th position. And Will Rayner only 14th. Amato, can he improve on his time from before? Not quite. He stays where he is in 2nd place. Bousov looking to move up onto the front row at least. 4/10 off the pace so far. And he's got it down to just half a tenth. And he goes into 2nd place. The man in 2nd place in the championship. 2nd so far in qualifying. Melvin Crowe's 4th in the Ferrari. Craig Law 5th with Morgan Grace up there in 6th position. Godfrey goes up to 4th place now. He's moved on to the second row of the group. We've got the number 13 crossing over the line. That is Andreelsi, goes up into 9th place. With the 68 coming through, that is Petropostle, who I don't think is on a particularly quick lap by the looks of it. Oh, he was actually. He went up to 17th for a brief moment. Josh Clayton now in 12th place. He's just been beaten by someone who's just crossed over the line behind him. Couldn't quite tell who that was. I think it was the 52 of Matteo Di Stefano, who's in P11 so far. Vorkel goes over the line, doesn't improve his times. He stays where he is. Busov looking to knock the championship leader off provisional pole. We've got Amato behind him. Don't know for certain whether the drivers are on fast laps or not. There's Caruana, who's looking to improve. He's 2 seconds off the pace. Can he narrow that down? Not on this lap. Gansin and Hanovic are the only drivers yet to post a lap time so far. But the 226 still to cross. Well, who's about to cross over the line. That is Craig Law. No improvement from him. We've got the 403 from Amato. He doesn't improve either. Number 38 of Hanovic is coming through now. Can he get onto the board with this time? And the answer to that question is yes, and he goes P7. Maro Begansin, who looks to be on a lap as we speak. Plenty of drivers out there at the moment. In fact, most of the drivers are on circuit. Vorkel is just slowing down there, trying to give himself some breathing space for his next run. Kroos is just coming out of the pits. They're just making sure he doesn't rejoin in the path of other drivers. The pit exit line actually does put you right back into the racing line, in all honesty, so drivers do their best to make sure they stay out of everyone's way. 34 crossing over the line. Where does Perfizzle go here? I don't think he moved up the order, in all honesty. But we've got Begansin who's crossing over the line right this second. And that lap time was not actually a valid one, so he stays where he is in 24th place. Vorkel is still the man to beat, but there's still a lot of time to go. Considering how short the circuit is, there's plenty of opportunities for drivers to get lap times in and improve from where they are. Amato goes to the pole. So 130.7, so he's able to displace Vorkel by less than 2 tenths. Busov doesn't improve though, he stays in P3. So that'll give Vorkel a little bit of a wake-up call. He looks to be on a flying lap at the moment, so we'll stay with him for now. Hanovic has moved up to 4th place in the Porsche. Got the 46 heading over the line, that is Ben Milden, who is in need of a strong lap. He's in P12 right now. And the lap he's just done, I don't think he's moved up the order with that one, unfortunately. So he stays where he is on the 6th row. The 43 crossing over the line, Luke Prentice goes up to 11th place, the podium finisher at Brands Hatch a few weeks ago. Finding time everywhere he can. Postle stays 19th. The 99 of Arseno goes up to 4th. And we've got Vorkel, who narrows down the gap, but still not enough to go back to provisional pole. So we're about 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. And Pasquale Amato doing a superb job so far in his first start of the season. Hanovic doing a cracking job there in 5th place. Melvin Kroos in need of a strong lap. Di Stefano moving up to 8th place. Lord down to 9th now. Ben Milden is in need of a strong lap. He's one of those fighting for the championship. Going into this round, he's 22 points off the top, so he needs a really strong showing here in Valencia to stay in the title fight. Got the number 18 of Morgan Grace coming through now as well. P10 he is. Don't think he improved this time around. Vorkel ahead. Oh, sorry, that's not Vorkel who's going over the line. And Ben Milden doesn't move up the order on this lap. Freeman looking to move up as well. He can't quite do so. I wonder if the drivers are running out of grip on the tyres that they're on, so they may want to quickly head back to the pits and get another set on and go again. Everyone has set lap time so far. Volkl for Bizzle, 24th position he's in. Begantin has moved up the order now. He's in 16th place. Volkl still going for it. He's not on a fast lap at the moment. Busov doing his best. T33 crossing over the line now. It's Melvin Crows, who is in P7, but he doesn't move up the order at the moment. Got the 999 of Volkl going over the line now as well. Is it enough to go? Well, no, he was on a slow lap actually. So this is actually a fast lap he's doing now, providing he doesn't get held up into turn 1, and he runs wide. I think he got put off actually by the 403, which is Pasquale Amato of all people. So Volkl is going to have to just take it easy for the rest of the lap and go again. Busov isn't on a fast lap. Arsenio's just started the lap now in the McLaren. Arsenio third place in the championship, 21 points off the top. He could do with another victory here to close down the arrears between him and Zdeněk Volkl. Less than 3 minutes to go. Amato, Volkl, Busov, Arsenio. That is your top 4 at the moment, but it can still easily change in these final few minutes. One minute 30.7 is the target for these drivers. Have any of them got anything left in the tank? .518 going over the line. That's Ben Berryman, who's only 18th. 1.5 seconds off the fastest time. 4:03 of Armato. It's over the line to start a lap now by the looks of it. So will Volkl. Now these two will get time. They will have time for another run actually. We're just inside the last couple of minutes. Busov doing the best he can. Next time around for him will be the last effort he will do. Got the 52 going over the line. Di Stefano only 8th. Freeman only 16th. Number 34 crossing over the line as well. Busov looking to improve on 3rd position. Doesn't do it on this lap, but he'll get one more go at it. Adrian Hanovic, number 38 Porsche. Doesn't go up the order either. Godefroy is in need of an improvement here. And Godefroy goes no higher than where he is. Didn't even improve his time either. Melvin Gross in 6th position. He's coming towards the line now. This needs to be a strong effort here. He doesn't go up the order this time around. Number 13 crossing over the line. That will be Andriozzi. Begins his last effort. Amato is displaced because Volkl goes fastest. 1:30.6. But these are going to be the last laps coming through. So both of them will have a chance. I think Amato exceeded track limits, so that might well be his session done. Arsenio isn't going to go for another lap. Oh, he nearly took out Will Rayner there, who was just starting the fast laps. So Arsenio not paying enough attention, really. And there may be an inquiry afterwards about that. Begantin goes 10th. Milden up to 9th place as the checker flag falls. Number 38 of Adrian Hanovic coming through the last turn now. Riding the curbs. Pushing as hard as he can towards the line. Taking the shortest route possible. Can he improve on 5th? No, he can't. Jeffrey Godefroy didn't get the best of exits out of the last turn, so he's coming into the pits. Doesn't look like we are seeing too many more improvements. Melvin Krause is on circuit now. He's coming into the last turn. On the third row at the moment, running wide. That'll cost him time all the way down the pit straight to the line. Krause crosses over the line, and it's no improvement. 6th place it is for him. At the end of that qualifying session, it's 4 pole positions out of 6 for the championship leader, Zdeněk Volkel, with Pasquale Amato in 2nd place. Nico Busov and Mauro Arsenio are on the 2nd row. Adrian Hanovic and Melvin Krause are on row 3, followed by Jeffrey Godefroy and Matteo Di Stefano. Ben Milden and Mauro Bigantin rounding out the top 10. Josh Clayton and Craig Law are 11th and 12th. Morgan Grace and Luke Prentice are 13th and 14th. Damian van der Waal and Will Freeman are on row 8, followed by Luca Andriozzi and Will Rayner in 17th and 18th. Corona and Ben Berryman are on row 10. Adam Sharp and Pedro Postel on row 11. And at the back, we've got Stuart Hutchinson and Farklov for Fizzle. We're around about 5 minutes away from the start of the formation now, so time to take a bit of a breather actually, because it's going to be a long race as this one. 90 minutes it will be. As far as number of laps is concerned, probably looking at around 58 or 59 laps, I would say, for this event. Tom here saying hello. Feel free to ask any questions as well, as we are live if you are watching us on Twitch. If you are watching us on YouTube, on Catch Up, we do welcome you. Just going to drive a drink, and then we'll be back for the formation up, and we'll run down on the grid. Welcome back. We are raring to go for the start of round 6 of the Taco Tuesday series in season 10 in the FRL, with Zdeněk Volkel looking for his first win since the opening round. Actually, he's only won once, and that was at Monza, and he's hoping to convert this time into a victory. Stay out of any first lap mayhem. It's a longer race than most of the others, but needs to just ensure and just play it safe. He'll be thinking more about the championship. As long as he can finish in front of Nico Busov, that all will be that really matters for the Czech Republican. About 20 seconds away from the start of the formation. That will be a rolling start, as always, in GT racing. No sign of any rain. Air temperature of 25 degrees C. Track temperature 25 degrees. So the front of the field are making their way off the dummy grid, if you want to call it that. So on a track where Formula 1 have had pre-season testing done in the past, in 2011. F1 Academy have raced at this track this year. F1 Academy will be part of the Formula 1 support bill next season. It's unknown as to which Grand Prix they'll be on the support bill for. My realistic and logistical guess I should say, would be that most of its rounds would be in Europe. It would be quite tricky given the support bill in Europe is usually made up of F2, F3 and the Mobil 1 Porsche Supercar. Let's run down the grid then for tonight's race. Zdeněk Volkel on pole with Pasquale Amato on in second place. And it's Nico Busov third, ahead of the Portuguese and race winner of Donington last week, Mauro Arsenio. In fifth position is Adrian Hanovic. He's one of his best qualifying performances this season. Melvin Crowe's in sixth position. Jeffrey Godefroy in seventh place, ahead of Matteo Di Stefano, who's already won a race this season. That was at Brands Hatch. Ben Milden, ninth on the grid. He's got some work to do from there to keep his championship hopes alive. Josh Clayton in 10th place. Mauro Begantin in 11th place, ahead of the man from Northern Ireland, that is Craig Law. Morgan Grace is 13th, ahead of Luke Prentice, alongside on the 7th row. We've got Demian van der Wal and Will Freeman making up row 8, with Luca Andriozzi and Will Rayner on the 9th row of the grid. We've got Caruana and Ben Berryman making up the 20, with Adam Sharp and Pedro Postel on row 11. On the 12th and final row of the grid for today's race is Stuart Hutchinson and Farklov Povizl. Who is going to get the best of starts here? All the field will be on the pit straight now, so we're just waiting for that all-important green flag to see the race commence. Drivers wait for the green flag, and it's waved now, and the drivers are go for Valencia. Volkel will have the inside line into turn 1. Arsenio won't get him round the outside like he did so last week. Nico Busov up the inside in the Porsche as they go through turn 1 together. Volkel stays in the lead. Amato in second place. We've got Arsenio and Busov going side by side as they go to the second turn. Arsenio down the outside of the Croatian. Is that him through into third place? Not quite so. There's a car off further behind. Couldn't quite tell who that was. I think it was Stefano who had gone off the track. He's gone into the gravel as well. So disaster there. Oh, it might have been Josh. No, it is Stefano. Luckily he rejoins without making contact with the other drivers. But it's the perfect start for the championship leader, Sedenet Volkel, but it's far from over by any means. And we are seeing a battle there involving what looks like Hanovic. No, it's not Hanovic, it's Godefroy, who is under threat from Melvin Kroes, who dives to the inside, and he's gone through there. Ben Milden trying to make up ground. He's made up a position so far in 8th position. Di Stefano, after going off at turn 3, is dropped all the way down to 17th position. So the field making the way through the twists and turns of this racetrack, and Volkel is still in the lead, but Amato, who's got nothing to lose, is trying to make up for lost time here, or trying to make up ground. We've got a few drivers ducking into the pits already. It looks like Ben Milden is one of them who's going in, and Josh Clayton too. So this is not an unscheduled start. I think that's scheduled, to be honest with you, because they know that they don't want to get caught up in traffic whilst they are sort of losing time behind and trying to complete undercuts on drivers. We've got 3 drivers in the pits then. We've got Milden, Clayton and Di Stefano who's come in. Just got to hope they don't go down a lap. Now Milden has done his stop now. Clayton has as well. Di Stefano should come out of the pits very quickly as well. And Patrick Postel is in 21st place at the moment. So Milden will be in 22nd. And there's a stop-go penalty already for Di Stefano for speeding in the pit lane. So it's not a good start to his race, unfortunately. He'll have to take that within the next 3 laps. Now, in regards to the time of the race, in terms of the game itself, is at 7:17 at the moment. Now, the time elapses twice as fast as it would be in real life, which means we expect the race to finish at round about 10:15, which will be in darkness. So you'll slowly but surely see the light fade on the Ricardo Tormo circuit. Senyo trying to put Busov under as much pressure as possible as Will Freeman dives for the pits at the end of the 2nd lap. Drivers just need to be careful about track limits on this circuit. It's very easy to exceed track limits anywhere around this track, in all honesty, most particularly turn 1. So Arsenio looking to dice it out with Nico Busov. 2 drivers fighting for the championship. Busov 2nd in the championship, being chased by Arsenio, who's 3rd in the championship. 9 points separating these two coming into this round. Arsenio 1 out in Donington. Busov has yet to win a race this season. His last win in Taco Tuesday. I think you have to go all the way back to Snetterton in season 9. That's just a reminder of the penalty, of which Matteo Di Stefano is yet to serve, as Arsenio pushes Busov wide there into the hairpin. That will be turn number 11. It just needs to be careful nudging into the back like that. Hopefully that doesn't affect the handling on Busov's Porsche. Fielder making their way through the last corner now. Volkel in the lead, Amato 2nd. It's Busov, Arsenio, Hanovic, Kroes, Godefroy, Law, Begansin and Prentice in the top 10 as we speak. Hanovic is behind Kroes. In fact, I think Kroes has got in front of Hanovic there, so Kroes is continuing to make his way through the field in the number 233 Ferrari. And Ben Milden is in front of Freeman. Di Stefano still needs to take that stop and go. Milden's making the most of the track position at the moment. Freeman trying to do the same as well, who's just a couple of seconds behind the Brit. Seven tenths is the gap between the top 2, and it's even closer between Busov and Arsenio. And Di Stefano's got one more lap to do before he has to take that penalty, otherwise he'll end up being black flagged if he doesn't do that. On to lap number 5 then, Vorkel maintaining his lead, but we are seeing Hanovic trying to make a move on Kroos as they go to the go into turn 1 together. Now, are we going to see a change in position here? Kroos in the Ferrari ahead, Hanovic diving to the inside, Kroos just about sees him, pushes Hanovic to the inside, and surely Hanovic is going to have the high ground into turn number 3. And does he go through? Yes, he does. Excellent overtake there from the American. He goes up into 5th place ahead of the Ferrari. Got a fry under threat from Law, and Law tapping him from behind. Now, these two already have history. Law just needs to be careful not to fall foul of the stewards here, because his collision with Godefroy was what dropped him further down the order. Godefroy trying to break the toe as they come through turn number 7. That was the king, and now this is 8. It's like a fast chicane of 9 and 10 before the hairpin of 11. Francis in 10th place ahead of Van der Waal, who's made up a few positions so far. I think that's probably because some of those have come into the pits to make their first schedule stop. We've got the 52 in the pits now. That's Di Stefano, who's serving his 30-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. His race just hasn't got off to the best of starts, but he may as well stay in it. Never know with incidents later on. Done his penalty now, and he's out on his way. See a move there from, well, looks like Morgan Grace has just got past Van der Waal, although Van der Waal's not quite giving it up as they go through turn number 4. Morgan Grace round the outside of the Dutchman. Is he going to be able to pull the move off? I think he should do. I think Van der Waal knows that the move is done here, and Grace goes through no problem. Marto holds the fastest up of the race. Busov and Marcenio are still occupying 3rd and 4th places. Eight tenths is the margin between the race leader and the man in 2nd place. It'll be interesting to see when the leaders decide to pit in, because I imagine there'll be a difference in strategies here. Amato will probably try and complete an undercut on Vorkel, but the difficulty he's going to have is track position when he rejoins the track. We can see there, who's that's pulling to the side there? Is that Craig Law? He's just made a bit of an error there. That might have been Begantin actually. A little bit too hard on the exit of the last turn. Well, the good news for Di Stefano is that he's already made one of his mandatory stops and he'll have one more to do. So when the field do come in for their first mandatory pit stops, he can get back on the lead lap. Ten minutes into this race, we're on lap 7. Expect this to be round about either a 58 or a 59 lap race here in Valencia. Awful, maintaining his nerve as we speak. Not too much battling going on circuit, although Craig Law's still got his hands full with Godefroy. Right on board with the man from Northern Ireland. Both through turn 1. Right, defending really well here, placing his car very nicely, making it as difficult as possible for Law to make his way through. Back to the battle for third place as Busov and Arsenio themselves busy. It's two going through, sweeping right and left, and now Marto's got the gap back down to 7/10 on Vorkel before they cross over the start-finish line. Imagine the gap will be rather similar. Now we are seeing Arsenio thinking about a move on Busov for third place as they come towards turn 1, and Arsenio thinks about a move. Busov sees it, and to be fair, he coped with that very, very well and made sure that Arsenio wasn't going to get through on that occasion. Lap 9 we are on now. Arsenio remains in 4th place for now. And Simpi, Tenner, Van der Waal and Grace. Rayner holding off Adam Shaw and Ben Berryman in 14th position. Stuart Hodgson in 17th. And the highest driver who has pitted so far, Ben Milden, 21st. And trying to hold off Will Freeman at the moment. Ben Milden struggling to hold off the Frenchman. And Milden, who was 8 seconds behind Postle in the previous sets, has now got the gap down to 7.4. Doing very well to hold Will Freeman off. Now, I don't know how much tyres take it, the circuit takes its toll on the tyres on a circuit like this. Now, given it's a permanent racetrack, you'd have thought the tyres would fall away quicker than a lot of the other circuits. Now, that's coming from a commentator's point of view, not a racing driver's point of view. Senyo still behind Busov. And he's looking for a way through, nearly running into the rear of Busov, but able to get the car slowed down in time. As they come through turn number 6. It's a kink of 7 before the hairpin of 8, which they are going to be heading through. Sonia pushing as hard as he can through the corners. We're 15 minutes into the race so far. Volkel leads by 1.2 seconds over Pasquale Amato. Then it's Nico Busov in 3rd place. Arsenio in 4th in the McLaren. 3 McLarens in the top 4. We've got Adrian Hanovic in 5th place at the Melvin Crows. Jennifer Godefroy is in P7 ahead of Craig Law, with Mauro Begantin and Damien van der Waal rounding out the top 10. And that's because Luke Prentice has dropped back after being overtaken. So I'm not sure exactly what happened to him. He must have made a mistake somewhere around the track. He's down to 12th position and be hoping to make amends in the near future. Now we are seeing Busov and Arsenio. Arsenio doing his best. Vogel has the fastest up at the race as we speak, so as it stands, championship gap from what was 12 points at the beginning of the night will increase to 18. Between Vogel in the lead and Busov in second, going into the final couple of races of the season. Go to Zolder next week, followed by Paul Ricard, the host of the season finale. It'll be a 60-minute race for that one instead of a 90-minute special, which has been the case in previous seasons in Taco Tuesday, but it's not quite going to be so this time around. Lap 11 completed, 1.4 seconds is the margin between Vogel and Amato. Now we are seeing a three-way battle between Craig Law, who's in fact got in front of Godefroy at last, and Mauro Begantin is right in the battle of this. He fancies his chances. He's not going to be able to get through, fortunately. Ben Milden is closing in on Postle now, but he's still got Will Freeman all over the back of him in the fight for what is 21st position on track. Now these two could come into play later on when it comes to fighting for the win, maybe, if they're lucky. So Milden still holding off Freeman and closing on Postle, although Freeman fancies maybe a go, but he won't do it into the right-hander that they're entering. Marto in second place, Busov third, Arsenio fourth. And now they're coming towards turn number 6. Arsenio's chance of getting past him have been coming for some time, but he hasn't been able to make the move just yet. Turn 8. Two seconds is the margin between Vogel and Amato now, so Vogel is able to stretch the gap as Arsenio closes in, but he goes a little bit too deep there and he loses ground to Busov on the exit of the last turn. Going towards turn 1. Got a battle between Van der Waal and Grace for P10. And Prentice has dropped back from this lot. Grace is not able to get through this time around, and just need to be wary of track limits every time they go through that. Could catch up with them later on and change things. Well, Di Stefano, who came in for a stop and go earlier on, it was best to not lose too much time having to get out of the way of those who are a lap ahead of him. And Busov is now 8 seconds behind Amato and 10 seconds off the lead. I have to try a different strategy compared to what Vorkel and Amato were doing. And the first track limits penalty has been dished out, and it's to the man in second place. So Pasquale Amato will have to serve a drive-through penalty for exceeding the track limits too many times. And we're only at the end of lap 14. He's crossed over the line, so he can do that twice, and then he'll have to come in for his drive-through. That will hand second place to Nico Busov. And third will go to Mauro Arsenio. I think Amato's doing his best to bridge out the gap over these sets of drivers who are fighting for position as well. This hasn't done him any favours by any means, as Pussell gets out of the way of Milden and Freeman. He didn't have to do that, but he did so because he knew that he wasn't going as quick as those two. Rather than wasting time battling with them, he thought just let them go and get on with his own race. That'll make Vorkel's life a whole lot easier now. Marto's chances of a podium have been dented horribly. There's a long way still to go in this one. You don't really want to be falling foul of track limits after how others fall foul of the same thing. It just needs to be covered. It doesn't do it too many times. It's going to be coming in at the end of this lap, maybe, or is he going to continue on for one more lap? He's continuing on for one more lap, so next time around he'll have to be in. Lap number 15 done. Vorkel's gap over Amato's 3 seconds, which will be a lot bigger. Gap that Vorkel potentially is going to have once Amato does come in is going to be over 10 seconds. Don't know when the leaders are thinking about coming in for a pit stop just yet. Thought around about the hour mark, or the 30-minute mark of this race, we should start to see a lot of them making their first stops. But don't be at all surprised to see strategies to vary so much between everyone. Amato will be in the pits to serve his drive-through. We'll go to the battle for third place, what will be second. Arsenio is behind Busov, runs wide. Wonder how many times the drivers will do that before they get penalised themselves. Well, Amato's coming in for his stop now, and it'll feel like an eternity for him. Godefroy, who's a couple of seconds behind Craig Law. Murray Beganson's a little bit further back too. We've had a spin involving the 713. That will be... who is that in the 713? That is Caruana, who's just had a spin on the exit of turn 8, but has continued. So Van der Waal is not going to get ahead of Amato. Amato should just get out in front of him. So Amato rejoins in 9th place now. How much time did he lose by coming in for that drive-through there? I'd have to say at least 25 seconds. And there's an off involving the 22. And Not quite sure what's happened there. Who's gone off at turn 1? That Luke Prentice has just gone off that. No, it can't be Luke Prentice, surely. 22 went off circuit. And the numbers can be weird actually, compared to what it says on the leaderboard. Sure, it was a Ferrari, and that was actually Stuart Hutchinson. He went off the circuit at turn 1 but continued. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he had damage to his car. It doesn't look like he has done. Lucky to get away with that. Ben Milden running in 19th position now, behind Will Rayner, who's yet to stop in this race. Are we going to be seeing pit stops around about now, I wonder? Well, Hodgson's coming into the pits. In fact, Rayner lets both Milden and Freeman through. He doesn't want to fight it out with them. It's rather generous of him, it has to be said. Arsenio still behind Busov as they go through. Oh, there's contact made! And the pair have collided! At turn 11, a bad error there from Arsenio. Just rallied to the rear of Busov. Busov's dropped down the order. Surely has to let Busov back through, and he has done. Both drivers have dropped down big time. Through goes Hanovic into second place. Kroos has gone through into third. Busov and Arsenio are down to 4th and 5th. Disaster for the pair of them as far as the championship is concerned, but that's good news for Zdeněk Vorkl. Busov comes into the pits, which is no surprise. I wonder if there's some repair work needing to be done, and if so, that could well cost him crucial amount of time. Not what he needed. Hanovic is through into P2 now, and this is played very much into the hands of Vorkl as far as the race is concerned. Kroos is up to 3rd, and Arsenio should not get penalised for that because he did give the place back to Busov. Well, the stewards may have a say on the incident itself anyway because of the places it cost. Busov, who's down to, where is he now? Well, he's behind Will Rayner, and so he'll be down in 19th place. Ben Milden will be ahead of him now too. So that's a crucial position gain for Ben Milden because Busov is obviously one of his championship rivals. Ben Milden went into this race 10 points behind Busov. He's currently now in 16th position, having made a stop, as much as Busov has done as too. Will Freeman behind him though, in the fight for 16th position. For Fizzle's the next one up the road from Milden, 11 seconds up. So Milden may as well make the most of the track position he's got and start putting in some red hot laps to close down the gap on Fizzle and start making his way through the field. A podium is very much on the cards for him now. Vorkl's gap over Hanovic is over 14 seconds. At least it promotes Armato up a position now as well, but he's trying to make a move on Begantin for P7. Gets the car slowed down in time and he goes through. Also, making up for lost time, gets in front of his compatriot. I think that's his compatriot because Bergantin is Italian. Marto's Italian as well. Drive-through penalty for Damien van der Waal for track limits. I think we're going to see quite a number of these track limit violations being dished out. Hanovic comes in from second place. Where will he feed back out? Should be able to get back out in front of Busov, so that's probably the man he's fighting with, as is Milden actually. Milden's looking to make up a place 2. Get in front of Van der Waal, no problem. Now Vorkel just needs to make sure he keeps his car on the circuit. And his second victory of the campaign will come sooner rather than later. We're over half an hour into the race now. Over a third of the way through. Vorkel has yet to make a stop, of course. And Hanovic hasn't left his pits yet. Hanovic has rejoined in front, or behind the 500, which would be Josh Clayton. So I think Clayton may be a lap down, you know. No, he's genuinely ahead of him. So Hanovic is rejoined behind Busov. He's now behind Clayton, would you believe? Vorkel continuing on, 18 seconds clear of Melvin Kroes, is in second place on track. Senio's third, 6 seconds behind him, Godefroy fourth. Law is in 5th position. Marto is 6th. And Van der Waal will need to come into the pits at the end of the next lap, otherwise he will be black flagged. For ignoring the black flag, ignoring the drive-through penalty of which he is required to serve. Berryman coming into the pits as well for his first of 2 mandatory stops. That will promote Ben Milden up another place, no problem. Milden in the number 46, making his way through. There is Van der Waal, who was having a decent race up until this point. That drive-through penalty is going to put pay to that in a moment. Kroes, his compatriot, running up there in P2 on track. Championship seems to be falling in the way of Vorkel at the moment. Van der Waal runs wide, but he needs to come into the pits at the end of this lap anyway. That should give Ben Milden another position. Though I might be wrong actually, because he looks to be too far back to get in front of Van der Waal right now, even though Van der Waal is yet to make a mandatory pit stop. Andriossi comes in. Freeman trying to make a move on Milden. And Milden putting his car in the right places. Freeman not 100% sure where to place his car. He nearly runs into the rear of the BMW. Milden keeps going. It's up into 13th now. Sonio third now in the McLaren. Godefroy fourth, Law fifth, Amato going through the final section of the lap. Leaving a few sparks. Pushing as hard as he can. Craig Law coming into the pits, as is Amato for their first mandatory stops. 50 kilometres an hour they slow down to. And Ben Milden should move ahead of those two. Turning into a spirited race for him so far, making the most of the track position. Oh, he made a real mistake. He made a really bad mistake on the exit of the last turn. That should give the position to Will Freeman. Although they are going side by side on the pit straight there. Freeman hasn't got quite his nose in front yet, but he has done now. So that was not exactly what Milden needed. I think that was Amato coming out of the pits in front of the pair of them. So Milden was not able to move in front of Amato. So that mistake on the exit of the last turn has cost him. Law has got out in front too. So they may have won that battle there, Law and Amato, but the war hasn't been won yet. Lap 25, Forkel untroubled. Still yet to make a stop, but even if he loses some of his lead that he had before the pit stops have begun, I don't think he'll be at risk of losing anything from this. Morgan Grace comes in from P6. Busov is behind Milden for your information, which is not good news for him. And we've got a battle for 7th place between Prentice and Sharp. Sharp's dropped back though. And Clayton and Hanovich making their way through cars at the moment. Clayton getting past Rayner now for 16. Rayner's still yet to make a stop in this race. And Di Stefano's in front of Hutchinson. Actually, he's in front of Caruana as well. So Di Stefano is making his way back through the field a little bit now. Not giving up by any means. And it looks like Morgan Grace has rejoined the race behind Rayner, Clayton and Hanovich. So he'll rejoin in 18th place now. Fossil coming into the pits for his first of two. Stefano coming through the last turn. Is he going to get in front of Postle and moving up another place perhaps? Postle hasn't left his box yet. Stefano goes through, no problem. And Adam Sharp is coming into the pits now from P7. Forkel in the race lead still at the present moment. Crows is just coming through sector 2 now. He's over 20 seconds behind. He's 21 seconds off the lead. "40 minutes into the race and light is continuing to fade here at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia in eastern Spain. Will this circuit ever one day host Formula 1? 100% sure it will, but always other events where it hosts quality racing, including MotoGP. Luke Prentice coming into the pits from P6. He's hoping to move up the order or be in the top 10 by the end of this. Ball towards the back though, it's probably around about where Adam Sharp is, so he'll probably be joining 17th position. Volkel continues on. And now really dominating this one is Volkel. I think the only thing he may have a difficulty with is where will he feed back out compared to the likes of Craig Law, because Craig Law is the highest man in the field that has made a mandatory stop. So potentially could well end up in second place. Ahead of him is Damien van der Waal, who's not making it easy for him at the moment as they come towards turn number 11. They come through. Craig Law can't quite find a way past. Behind him is Pasquale Amato. So onto the pit straight there comes Law. Van der Waal protecting his line and positions. They ride over the marbles that are left over into turn 1, and Law cannot stay, cannot quite get ahead this time around. Will Freeman coming in for his last stop already, and we've still got 47 minutes to go. Side by side they go. Do Law and Van der Waal. Law needs to get in front here. This is crucial. He has to get a podium out of this. Still not ahead though. This is really frustrating for his race. He probably feels that Volkel is out of the equation here. He knows that second place is possible, but the more time he gets stuck behind Van der Waal, the less of a chance of getting in front of Melvin Crows when he pits in, and Mauro Rosenio. Van der Waal runs wide, and that's all Law needs to get through this time. Gets through no problem. So Law gets through up to P7 on track. So Freeman's done his last stop now, he's leaving the pits. And he's behind the 77, which is Begantin, who's a lap ahead of him. In front of Di Stefano, who's still got one more stop to make, and Van der Waal running wide there, which won't help him. And it looks like Amato isn't quite able to get through, but he will do now because Van der Waal's coming in for his first stop of the race. No rain is expected to hit the track. Ben Milton running in P11, which will become P10 as he goes past Van der Waal, and I think Busov is in front of Milden now as well, which is hardly a surprise because Busov is on fresher tyres to Milden. This is really going to be an interesting game now in terms of how long or how quick the drivers can make their pit stops work. And Van der Waal hasn't left the pits yet, but Godefroy is in for his first stop now. So I would probably say that Godefroy is going to retain. Is he going to retain his position? I don't think he's in his box yet. So Law should move in front of him, as will Amato. Both go through the last corner for the pit straight, and Law is actually coming in for his last stop already. And so is Busov. He's taking the opportunity, as is Milden, which is no surprise. He came in at the end of lap 1, remember. Josh Clayton is going through. And Vorkel is coming in for his first stop now too. At the end of lap number 30. And Melvin Crows, is he going to go and take the lead of the race? And the answer to that question is yes. I don't think Vorkel's come into his box yet. It's right at the end of the pit lane actually. So Melvin Crows takes the lead of the race. Arsenio comes in for his first stop. Begansin, what is he deciding to do? He's also coming in. And the next one behind him is Farclough Epistle, who hasn't had too much to do in this race in all honesty. Amato potentially may move up into second place, but he's not been going quick enough in the grand scheme of things. Vorkel rejoins the circuit as Amato decides the time is right for him to make his second stop. Hanovic will go through ahead of Arsenio. Vorkel rejoins in second place now. And Popisel is in third position in the Audi. Hanovic fourth. Rayner will go up to fifth. Still yet to make a stop in this race. And there is Luke Prentice, who's trying to make his way through past. Is that Amato's just come out of the pits, or is that the 99? I think that's the 99 actually of Arsenio's just come out. So Arsenio has rejoined, as has Begansin. Amato has left his box for the last time, hopefully for this race. Crows is still out there in the race lead, and a stop and go penalty has been given to Amato, so that's his second penalty of the race, and it's for speeding in the pit lane. Well, I did say I was hoping that would be his last stop, and I totally jinxed it. What could have been a podium for Amato, most likely to be a finish outside the top 10. Stefano is in for his last stop now as well. Popisel comes in from P3, so Hanovic will go ahead of him. What will Rayner decide to do? Also decides to head for the pits. This will promote Godefroy, Grace, Begansin, Sharp, Andriozzi and Berryman. The only driver left in the race that has not done a pit stop at all is Melvin Crows, is in the lead. And he's staying out there. I think with the track position he's potentially going to have at the moment, and that's a reminder of Armato's penalty. He still needs to serve. Lap 33 we are on now. Vorkel, who is in the 999 McLaren, is, whereabouts is he on the circuit? He's on the pit straight actually. Now Crows will be thinking if he can go far enough, he may just, I don't know how much fuel he's put in the car at the beginning of the race, but if it's just going to be tyre changes, we may well see two blindly quick pit stops that could see him become a threat to Vorkel later on. It's unlikely, but not impossible. See, the front headlights are on now. Visibility is fading. make it a little bit more tricky for the drivers, but it is good enough for them to acclimatise. They can do it. Drive-through penalty has been given to car number 52, and that will be Matteo Di Stefano, who's coming in to serve that drive-through. I think he's called it a day, actually. So Matteo Di Stefano out of the race, the first driver to retire, as Pasquale Amato comes into the pits to get his stop-and-go penalty served. And that's him out of any hope of finishing in the top 10 now. 4:03 in the pits, which is him. Pros is making the most of the track position he's got. He's probably thinking, you know, with all the track position I got myself right now, I can go longer. But Milden will go through ahead of him. I won't look at the live stand-ins in terms of the championship because it's not really relevant, considering that some drivers have pitted more times than others. I'll wait until all the stops are done and then we can look at the championship picture afterwards. So Melvin Crows has gone 34 laps on his first set of tyres and he's finally heading for the pit lane. Now we'll see how long he stays in the box for. It's like a long pit lane here, doesn't it? I don't actually know if Amato's actually going to rejoin the circuit, to be honest with you, because I think he's been in the box for a long time. So Crows stays in his box. How long is he going to be in there for, I wonder? Should be out within 20 seconds really. Longer than that. And that was around about 30 seconds at least. So Vorkel will go into the race lead again on merit. Hanovic is in second place. Vorkel and Hanovic have still yet to make one more stop in this one. Craig Law is the highest driver in the field to have done all his mandatory stops. He's looking and targeting a podium finish out of this. Goes in on Luca Andriozzi. And it doesn't look like Amato is rejoining the race now, unfortunately, so he, like Matteo Di Stefano, is out of the race. After a brilliant qualifying, it's just all fallen apart for him in the race. Hoping for better luck next time out in Zolder. And there's an off involving the number 5, which is Will Rayner. That's at turn 12, but it's turn 13, I should say, but it's continued. Craiglaw goes through. Well, Craiglaw is in 9th position now, ahead of Luke Prentice, who's just exited the pit lane. So Crows, after his pit stop, has rejoined in front of Arsenio in 3rd position. Arsenio right on his tail though. He really needs to get ahead of him, and he really could do with getting ahead of Adrian and Hanovic as well for 2nd. Because Vorkel, with the win and fastest lap going his way as we speak, Arsenio needs to get the best result possible to stay in the race for the title realistically. 34 minutes to go. 35 laps completed. Right on board with Arsenio as he looks to complete a move on pros at some point. And we see the stars in the sky. Cars make their way through. Winding bends, although Arsenio runs wide a little bit, that takes some of the pressure off pros for the time being. Number 14. Onto the pit straight they come again. Craig Law in 9th position. He's now in front of Androzzi. So that's a position gain for the Northern Irishman. Jansen, who's running in P7, has made 1 pit stop in this race so far. This is an important phase in the race now for Law to get his hammer down, because stuck behind cars that are out of position compared to where he is costing him dear. Nearly an hour into this race. Still got a little over half an hour remaining. We are still expecting it to be a 58 lap race. Borkel's just done his 37th lap. Busov is closing on Mandrosi. It's important that he gets ahead of him. Two rounds to go after this race. Borkel very much firm favourite for the championship, with maximum points coming his way as it stands. It's a matter of where his rivals end up finishing. Berryman comes in for his last stop now. We'll see Milden move up a position. Craig Law trying to get himself back in the action. He's got a lot of ground to make up actually over the next man ahead. So Mauro Begances just going through turn 1. Law does not need to pit again. There's an off for the 713, which is Caruana. That's down at turn number 5. It has continued. Hanovic in P2. Here's the battle for third place between Kroos and Arsenio on the pit straight once more. So McLaren not able to pass Kroos just yet. And one. Arsenio thinking about a move. Kroos sees it coming, fends it off. Now turn 6 and heading towards 7 and then turn 8. See, Kroos continuing to run wide there. He won't want to get another penalty. Well, he won't want to get a penalty. He hasn't had one yet in this one. It's Squally Amato I was thinking of. And here's Arsenio. He's got a good exit coming out of turn 12 and 13 as he goes for it in the last turn. Kroos leaves him space. He runs wide, but I think Arsenio has got the move done. Arsenio through up into what is now second place because Adrian Hanovic has come into the pits. Arsenio up to second position now, which is important for the championship. He still has one more pit stop to make. And Hanovic has done his stop now. Behind Beganton, we should rejoin in front of Craig Law. Miles in front of him actually. Long way ahead of him. He's ahead of Busov now too. So this is the important question. Is Arsenio going to bridge enough of a gap when he comes in for his last stop? He needs to pull away from Melvin Kroos. No chance of him catching Vorkel. If Arsenio was to finish second, he will go up to second position in the Drivers' Championship ahead of Nico Busov. And 21 points between him and Vorkel coming into this round. The gap will increase to 25. Everyone coming in for his last stop now. 27 seconds is the margin between Vorkel and Arsenio. I think if Vorkel, even if Vorkel got a drive-through penalty now for track limits, he'd still rejoin in front of Arsenio, you would have thought. Moment. Vorkel is just making his way through back markers. And that he's trying to life, and that's Pafizzle who's running in. Running in down at the back. Or towards that. No, he's in 13th place actually, is Pafizzle. He's actually got one more stop to make. 23.5 minutes remaining on that, 43. Still, some drivers have yet to make their last stops. Hanovic is the highest of those who've made their last stops. He's looking good for second place in this race. Two drivers still running in this one. Amato and De Stefano, the only ones out. Hanovic will do his utmost to get into second place once the pit stops are completed. There's no chance of him catching Volkel, obviously. Morgan Grace, who's in 5th place on track, well, he'll drop back once his stop is done. May fall down as low as 9th. Depends on the quality of the stop, I suppose. Will Freeman, who hasn't had too bad of a race this evening, is in P11 on track. Could be as high as something like 8th or 9th. Hasn't had too much to celebrate this season, has the Frenchman. Highest he's finished has been 7th in round 2 at Imola. Morgan Grace coming into the pits for his final stop now. Let's see how long the stop actually takes for him. Wait to see how long it'll be. There's a yellow flag and it's involving the 433, which is Demian van der Waal, but he's able to continue. So that stop there was something like 14-15 seconds. I think it was 14 there for Morgan Grace, which is quicker than what some of the drivers have done. Hanovic has gone through, so has Law, so has Busov. Freeman just gets in front. Milden's way too far back. So Morgan Grace is in front of Ben Milden. In front of Andrew Rossi, so he'll be joined in 10th place. But Ben Milden's gamble of pitting earlier on has not quite paid off, unfortunately, tonight. In a race where he really needed to do well. He didn't have the best of qualifying performances either. So, when will the leaders decide to pit in? Well, there is Volkel, who's just going through turn 6. Senio, Kroos, Godefroy and Begantin staying out there. And one of the other drivers coming into the pits, I think, is Will Rayner, who's coming in for his last stop. Which doing the best he can. There's a spin involving the 713. That will be Corona, who's had a really difficult time of it tonight as well. So on all of his stops, but he's still continuing on in this. So we've got around about 14 laps to go in this race. A yellow flag again, of course that hits Corona again, and that's because he's overheated his rears by spinning around. Volkel lapping Will Rayner. Senio, who's running in 2nd position, is still in front of Kroos. Godefroy hasn't had too much to do in the last half an hour or so, is in 4th. Hanovic keeping up. Should go into 2nd place once the stops are done. Does go into 2nd place. He's going to end up in 3rd position. It could well be Craig Law, providing he does not receive a track limits penalty like he has done in the last couple of rounds. Kossel coming in for his final stop. Heading towards turn number 1. Hanovich running in 6th position. Craiglaw closing in now, 8 tenths behind, so the battle for second place is well and truly on in this race. And Busov has to get in on the act here and start fighting it out for P2 as well in the Porsche. .20 is the margin between Vorkel and Arsenio, both of which have still yet to make their last trips to the pits. Got 16 minutes to go, or just over 16 minutes. When the clock reaches 0, whatever lap the leader is on will be their last lap. Here we go, here's Law, looking for a way through on Hanovich. This is for 6th position on track, but could well effectively be 2nd. Law keeping it on the track. Now Busov will be looking to close in, and there's an off again for Caruana on the exit of turn 8 this time. He gets back on the circuit. Around the last corner now, and Hanovich runs wide, and there may be an opportunity for Law to get through here. Right on board again with the 226 Ferrari is Craig Law, about to overtake the American and go up into 6th place on track, and effectively 2nd place up the inside, and Law goes through into 2nd. Brilliant from Craig Law. Now these two better be careful not to fight it out too much, because if they do, when the likes of Arsenio and Kroos pit in, they could potentially complete an overcut on the pair of them, as well as Busov, to maintain their places on the podium. So I think if I was Hanovich, I would probably just stick with Law for now and wait for Arsenio and Kroos to pit in. But how soon will it be for Arsenio and Kroos before they decide to head for the pit lane? There is Kroos running in 2nd place. Kroos is only a few seconds behind. Godefroy in the 147 is coming through the last corner. Ganson isn't too far back either. So Craig Law should be... Oh, that's an off there. Who is that that's gone off the circuit? Couldn't quite tell. I think that might have been the 713. We have an off involving the 34. That is Farklov for Bizzle. Gets back on the track. Still got one more stop to make as well. Lap 50 we're on now. Forkel looking good for the victory. We won't need to worry about cars behind. As Babizzle goes for the pit lane now. That leaves only 6 drivers left in the race to make their last trips to the pit lane. 77 is off track. That's Begansin, who's had a hit, a whack against the wall by the looks of it. Has he damaged the car? Yes, he has. The windscreen's broken. It's wrecked. And that could well be his race done, unfortunately. And if I was him, I'd try and reverse rather than go into the barrier like that. Just needs to be careful not to rejoin into the path of the other drivers. And that's his race ruined for Mauro Begansin. Trying to get out of there, which he does at last, but he's lost a lot of time. And he's going to need to pit in now. That allows Craig Law to go through. Busov closing in on Hanovic. So, should Law get into second place, where is Arsenio going to rejoin, and where is Crowes going to rejoin? There is Arsenio, just making his way through another back marker. He's not coming in yet. Neither is Crowes. Janssen comes in to get the repair work done. Godefroy comes in from P4. That will promote Law, Hanovic and Busov up a place each. Freeman should go up too. Should go up as well. Godefroy has actually done his stop now, so I think he's actually going to rejoin in front of Freeman, who's coming onto the pit straight now, but he's way too far back. So Godefroy rejoins in 7th place. Sonio and Crowes continue on. And there is Craig Law, who'll be in 4th position now on the track. But now he's got more back markers to deal with, which is not ideal for his race. Begansin and Hutchinson are in the pits now. I don't know if Begansin is going to rejoin the racetrack. I mean, considering we're coming towards the end of the race, I think he may as well. We've only got 10 minutes remaining. We're on lap 52. Still think it'll be a 58 lap race. How long will it be before Vorkel, Arsenio and Crowes come in for their stops? So Law going behind Bavizzle. It's a lap down. Now, is Bavizzle going to obey the blue flags? He is. And didn't make it easy for Law, really, in terms of the line he took into turn 1 there. Now, is he going to be as kind to Hanovic and Busov? To stay out of the way. Does Bavizzle, and he does so. And Busov is trying to make a move on Hanovic now. He needs to close down the championship lead. And when is Arsenio and Crowes going to pit in? Arsenio stays out. Crowes stays out as well. They'll need to take it before the minute window arrives. And if they haven't taken it, there will be a time penalty being dished out to the pair of them, but I'm sure they know the rules in relation to that anyway. Busov is still behind Hanovic. He's desperate to get ahead. Not long to go left in the race now. Hanovic fending off Busov. Godofroy is 5 seconds behind these two, and he'll be on fresher tyres. And Arsenio comes in from second place now. This is an important stop in the race. How quick of a pit stop is this going to be for the Portuguese driver? Quick of a pit stop is this going to be, I wonder? That's run about 7 seconds. And Law is way too far behind, so I think Arsenio has got this second place sewn up, and he's about to leave the pits now before Law gets anywhere near him. So Arsenio rejoins, and now it's all down to Melvin Krause. He needs to decide when he is going to head for the pit lane. He probably won't get out in front of Arsenio. If he can get out in front of Law, then that's the podium going his way. No, bar any mistakes or track limit penalties, this race looks very much sewn up now for Zdeněk Vorkl, on course for his second win of the season and taking a giant step closer to the title. Craig Law, can he get onto the podium? I'm not so sure that he will, to be honest with you. Krause stays out for another lap. Can't leave it too long. And there's a drive-through penalty for Will Rayner for the track limits. So his 19th position is going to become, well, probably 21st, I would say. The man at the back is Caruana, who's a few laps behind anyway. Just got over 5 minutes to go now. Vorkl, who's coming towards, he's on his 55th lap. Say he's going to have 3 laps to go. Still got his stop to do. So he rides the curbs through 12 and 13. Heading towards turn 14 as well. And he's heading for the pits at the end of lap 55. See how quick of a pit stop it will be for him. Doesn't need to take too many risks with the pit entry. Last thing he wants is a speeding penalty. It's not ideal at this stage of the race. Goes into his box now. Probably a similar pit stop to what Arsenio did earlier. And this pit stop looks like 10 seconds in fact, so a little bit longer actually. He exits the pits now, does Vorkl. Krause is in for his last stop, so Arsenio should go in front of him. Rayner's done his drive-through now as well. So Arsenio is back into second place. Crows exits the pits ahead of Craig Law, and he'll rejoin in third position. So the positions look to be as it's going to be now, with 3 minutes remaining. Vorkel is on his third to last lap, so he'll have 2 laps to go at the end of this lap. And win number 2 of the campaign is heading in the way of the Czech Republican. Gansen, after his crash earlier, is in 20th position and right behind Vorkel actually. So looks to close him down. As the championship stands, with Busov finishing in 5th position, with Hanovic right behind him. Busov's got in front of Hanovic now into 5th place. So that's important for Busov as far as the championship is concerned. Vorkel will extend the margin by 10 points over Busov, so the gap between those two will be 22 points. Arsenio, by finishing in 2nd today, will not move up ahead of Busov, but will close in on him. But he'll still lose ground to Vorkel, so he'll be 25 points behind. Ben Milden, who is on course to finish in 10th place today, is not going to be coming away as a happy man, in all honesty. Godefroy will move up ahead of him in the standings into 4th. Melvin Crows, though, he'll go on to 160 points, throw himself in the frame to maybe finish in the top 4 in the driver's standings. Well, Craig Law gave it a good go, but at least he won't have to fall foul of the stewards this time. Everyone's done their stops now as well, so no need to worry about the pit window closing. Vorkel's lead over Arsenio is 11 seconds, which is more than enough really. It's all he needs. He's on his penultimate lap. He'll have 1 more lap to go when he crosses over the start-finish line. Will Freeman will be happy with his 8th place. Fine return to form. It's not been his best result of the season, but I think in terms of the racecraft he's done this evening, given he pitted earlier on in the race at the end of lap 1 and then ran about half race distance, he made the strategy work for himself. Definitely better than how Ben Milden had done it. There's a drive-through penalty for petrol postal for track limits, so that drive-through will probably come a time penalty at the end of the race. We're on the final lap then, as Vorkel is 4 kilometres away from victory, as Begantin goes for a spin yet again, this time on the exit of turn 1, gets back on track. He'll just want the checker flag to be out as soon as possible. And we'll just go back to the return of the goers. I pressed drive by accident there. So Vorkel's leapt the entire field up to Andriozzi in 14th, who's just ahead of him actually. But he's getting out of the way because he won't want to do another lap. What a dominant drive it's been from Zdeněk Vorkel from the start. Pole position to flag. And you have to say he's got one hand on the trophy. He'll extend his lead to 22 points in the championship, going into Zolder next week. He's got 3 more corners to get through, and the checker flag will be in sight for your race winner and champion-elect. One braking zone to get through, and Zdeněk Vorkel can optionally choose to flash his headlights into light because he knows the race is done. The checker flag is way. Zdeněk Vorkel wins in Valencia in the Formula Racing League in Taco Tuesday. Well done to him. He is absolutely ecstatic with that. Mario Arsenio comes home in 2nd place after a topsy-turvy drive following his collision with Busov earlier on in the race. Melvin Crow's on the podium in the Ferrari. Craig Law in 4th place again. Nico Busov will be disappointed with 5th. He needed more than that. Adrian Hanovic 6th, with Jeffrey Godefroy in P7 in the BMW. Then we've got Will Freeman, Morgan Grace, Ben Milden, who's had a disappointing race today, in 10th place. Luke Prentice in 11th, followed by Adam Sharp. Josh Clayton, the last of the drivers on the lead lap. Luca Andriozzi in 14th, had a Damon van der Waal and Varglov Bizzle. Ben Berryman, Stuart Hutchinson, Mauro Bigantin, Pedro Postel, Will Rayner and Caruana with the rest of the finishers. Only 2 drivers retired. They were Amato and Di Stefano. But there is your race winner, Zdeněk Vogel, for the 2nd time this season in Taco Tuesday in Tier 1. And the championship is edging ever nearer. As he makes his way back into the pit lane, we'll run down on the final race results, and here they are. So Zdeněk Vogel wins by 10 seconds over Mauro Arsenio in 2nd place. Melvin Crowe's 3rd, with Craig Law 4th, Nico Busov 5th, followed by Adrian Hanovich, Jeffrey Godefroy and Will Freeman are 6th, 7th and 8th, Morgan Grace 9th and Ben Milden running out the top 10. Luke Prentice is 11th, Adam Sharp 12th, with Josh Clayton in 13th, and the last of those on the lead lap. Luca Andriozzi in 14th, followed by Damon van der Waal, who had another bad day today in 15th, Varglov Bizzle, Ben Berryman, Stuart Hutchinson, Mauro Bigantin, Will Rayner, Pedro Postel is 21st after the time penalty was applied, and Caruana was the last of the finishers. Pasquale Amato and Matteo Di Stefano were the rest that did not finish the race. But the championship lead that Zdeněk Vogel has over the others is 22 points, with 2 races remaining, Zolder next week and Paul Ricard the week after. All I can say is to everyone that tuned in, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed that, do make sure you like or follow on Twitch if you've watched us live. If you've been watching us on catch up on YouTube, then do please like and subscribe to the channel as well. I'm going to end it there. Thank you for watching, and we'll do it again next week in Zolder in 7 days time. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.